Warning. Pro Tri News is a podcast with different opinions, knowledge, and possibly fake news about triathlon racing. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and some stories may be dramatized for comedic effect. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pro Tri News. I am your host, Kyle Glass, joined by the three people that have been my best friends for the last 250 episodes that we've been doing this show.
Wow.
So, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking by our guns for the last 4 years doing this.
That's pretty impressive, guys. 250 episodes.
250, yeah.
What's mad is no one will ever realize how many times this podcast has almost ended within that 250 episodes.
Via internal or external, or both?
Internal. Well,
internal.
I think the only close external was me pointing out that someone definitely bought a load of followers. And the internal, that's maybe 150 times that's almost happened.
From all of us, right? Every one of us have
100%.
thrown our hands up
100%.
and like, we're done.
I recently got a new iPhone and I ran out of space on my old one, and I went to go you know, you can go to the usage and delete our text chain. I don't know if you guys know this.
I did the same.
It takes up like 95 gigabytes on my phone.
I did the same. I was like, how have I possibly run out of memory? And I looked to the thing, 95. I had the exact same number.
It probably doesn't help that I used to just send the graphics just straight into our group chat rather than just posting them, and then no one ever responded. So that's on me.
Anyway.
We got a big show.
We got a big show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So if you're here listening for the first time, we talk about the professional level of triathlon racing, whether it's results, drama, which we had a lot of drama this week, and what's coming up. So this weekend was 70.3. We had 70.3 Brazil, and winning the race was Jennifer Arnold. She's an ITU athlete. Second place, Victoria Lopez, and third place, Romina Bigelow. And then on the men's side, Federico Scarbino won the race, Luciano Taccone, second place, and Fernando Taldi in third place. Moving on to a couple of challenge races that happened. Challenge Barcelona, where Jamie Riddle was able to get his first pro middle distance race win. And also Kathia Shar won her second race in a row after winning Challenge Majorca last weekend, coming off a gnarly injury, another short course athlete. So all those races have all featured short course athletes. And then the other race was Challenge Forte Village in Italy. Winning the race was Sarah Sardini. And on the men's side, Lasse Lurs and Lasse Priester won, and Lasse Lurs second place. So those were the three races.
One thing on Barcelona, the video of Jamie Riddle spanking in as he comes into T2 is kind of hilarious, and he bounces back up like an absolute baller, but he spanks in hard. The other thing is the motos in that race, from what I saw, and I've had some videos sent to me, was
ridiculous,
really wild motor pacing in that race. I don't know who. I'm not going to say who got paced. I'm not going to say what happened. But if you ever want to badmouth IRONMAN for motor pacing, go watch some of the videos from Challenge Barcelona, because honestly, it was like dirty racing.
Speaking real quick of motos, guys, we used to talk about them like every freaking top.
They've got so much better, right?
They are so much better. So hats off to both T100 and the Ironman events,
and normally Challenge now as well. To be fair,
I think those are just those one-off races. They hire like a random local company and that company doesn't know. They're just trying to give them a broadcast. But Ironman and T100 have both been
they both improved
very
massively.
Good at fair racing. So
I will say probably especially T100, who were the most guilty of it. IRONMAN has had races that sometimes bad, sometimes good. T100, we bag on them all the time. This year, I've not seen it at all. Have you, Talbot? Really?
I haven't seen it much.
Yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah.
Should we get into the news that happened this week? Was there any news?
I think there was some big news.
What was the big news? Talbot, kick us off.
I think that first and foremost, I don't want to make it about myself because you know what? I got a lot of criticism and I attempted to, but at the end of the day, I really did because sometimes I'm human and I'm vain. And Mark even warned me, Talbot, this is about something else. Don't make it about us. I fired away a caption, doubled down with a comment, and learned the hard way. Hey, I'll take it on my chest. I apologize to the team. I probably shouldn't have went that hard. This wasn't about us. It's about something else. And so, lesson learned. Sometimes I just am human and I mess up, I guess. So I'll try to be better next time.
But the news, and Talbot appreciate that. I mean, fuck it. We've been waiting a long time because we knew this was coming. I think we all actually knew
totally.
that Imogen. I think we all fundamentally knew that the outcome of this scenario was going to be she would be cleared, whatever the biases involved or whatever it was. But Imogen Simmonds has essentially accepted a no-fault agreement with the ITA and with CAS, etc. So where we're left now is WADA have a period where they can appeal the result. And we have seen sometimes that WADA have appealed results and their appeal has been upheld. So this isn't the end of it for Imogen Simmonds and her positive test for a doping violation. But as far as like likelihoods go, Imogen Simmonds is essentially good to start racing again.
And WADA has what, 21 days, I believe, is what it is, to appeal the CAS decision.
Normally it's 21 days.
And let's when if we mention a term, let's make sure the audience knows CAS is Court of Arbitration. I think that we should run through a timeline of this because I think this case is so unique, and people, I guess, following the sport, this was so unusual for them because cases usually don't ever last this long, and everyone's like, "What in the hell is happening?" It's been 8 months, and it has been silence. So I think we should run through the timeline. Imogen tested positive on a December 8th out of competition doping test. I believe. How many times was she tested, Kyle? You had said that earlier.
I believe that she was tested 4 times in the span of 3-4 weeks leading into 70.3 World Championship.
Exactly, because it was around 70.3 World. So she had a test. 12 days later, she had the test she tested positive on. She then had an in-competition test and then one following up from that. Yeah, and she tested positive on just one of those tests.
And another one. So it would be another one, right, out after the T100 race? So would it technically been 5? Anyways, not important.
And then she was notified when of this from the ITA? Or I guess
think
WADA?
it was like late January, right?
Late January. And so that's when Athlete was notified. Some rumblings had happened. We had initially heard of it towards the end of middle of February, towards the end of February.
Middle of February.
And then the news went live, followed by, after the news went live, Imogen then posted it, and then the ITA posted it. And on that was on February 26th. And we kind of heard about rumblings of a positive test, and then we finally got the confirmation of the name. But then February 26th, and then we posted it too on our page, and then we all had talked about it. But I think it was so interesting because it was still an ongoing investigation, and the ITA usually, this is so out of the ordinary because they usually don't post this information, but they kind of had to post it under a few circumstances. We put together some questions. And Mark, how does that kind of go about? What does the ITA usually do around this? Like, when do they post investigations? Usually it's when it's ended, right?
So it depends on who's picked it up. So so if a national governing body picks it up, often they will have a disclosure policy. So they will post if they have a positive result. And for instance, like World Athletics will post when they have a positive result. Yet if the ITA is contracted directly by a private organization, which is almost essentially unique to IRONMAN, because everyone else that holds a WADA signatory code is a national governing body or either global or regional. They're all governing bodies, whereas Ironman's fairly unique. So the reality here is that the ITA would never have posted or announced this news until conclusion of the investigation, i.e. now, unless a couple of circumstances, and the main one is if the athlete makes it public or the news is broke on a mainstream media platform. So without Imogen having posted it herself or someone else having broken the very prominent news, the reality is we may never have heard about this. And this has happened before and we've never heard about it.
We reached out on and asked some questions on Slow Twitch, of course, going to send the same questions to Ironman and stuff, but this has happened so fast that we haven't heard a response. But there was luckily a guy that I'm just not going to name him out of respect that I don't know if he wants to be named public, but he works at a doping agency and answered some of the questions. And
Anti-doping agency.
Anti-doping agency. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's very important. So I'll read some of the stuff he said. We wrote, when an athlete tests positive, they're most always provisionally suspended right away, which is what happened in Imogen's case. That suspension is told privately to the athlete and their federation. It's not automatically made public. So a lot of people are probably like, well, then when does it go public? It's only made public if one of three things happened. The athlete announces it themselves, the federation decides to announce it for transparency reasons, or it gets leaked by the press, like a journalist finds out or someone reports on his stuff. If none of those happen, the provisional suspension will stay completely private.
And the interesting thing here is there is no federation involvement. So Imogen's did not get tested under a federation. Mm-hmm. So the federation in question would have been Ironman, because it was an Ironman sanctioned test, which is super unique. So Ironman were notified, Imogen's notified, and that's it. And Ironman don't make that public. And we know that for a fact that we cannot go into, but we know for a fact this has happened more than once in Ironman history, and the athlete has been cleared, and the world is none the wiser.
So then he proceeds to answer, what if an athlete is eventually cleared? If is that case always made public if the athlete is found non-guilty, or does it stay private? And he said that it stays private. The anti-doping agency doesn't usually go public or announce when they're cleared. So sometimes it will never go to exist, but there has been exceptions, like in Germany, where local privacy laws are stricter, like with water rules, dozens of athletes, like you can serve jail time and stuff. So, or if it's like a less popular athlete, or it's very weird if it goes public or not, but it is a very gray area. So a lot of the times it does not go public though. So in this example, I guess we would never know what it would be, but yeah.
I guess here is the thing though. Like we knew, and we chose not to make it public and let the ITA do their thing. But a lot of our listeners would like them all to be public, and they think it's people like our job to make them public because they just assume instant guilt. And the reality is, once you test positive, it's not like a court of law where innocent until proven guilty. The minute it's in your system, you're guilty, and the burden of proof is on you to prove yourself innocent. And at that point, the minute it's in your system, lots of our listeners will say, we want to know. And I'll be honest, I can completely relate to them. I totally understand it until I see this situation, which I've been so transparent about my biases. I'm a friend of Imogen's. I never believed she was doping from the get-go. And it was this case that made me realize, like, you know what? There should be some discretion over this stuff, because there are circumstances behind it, and let's be honest. We can say whatever we want. You may just continuously disagree with us. You want to hear when this stuff happens. We took the decision in this circumstance not to make it public. Others didn't, and that's fine. Whatever.
Sorry, you should be clear. When it was private.
When it was private. When it was
Yeah,
the minute it became public, we talked about it, we reported on it, like we have done with every other doping case.
Yeah.
We posted it instantly, etc., etc. But when we knew before it became public, we chose not to make it public because, and I will agree, I will admit, this case changed my mind on whether this stuff should be automatically public or not. Because deep down, I knew that she probably wasn't guilty, and I'm very glad that that's turned out to be correct, but whatever.
Yeah, and I think a few things here on pieces that we don't know all of the facts on, but we've heard about, right? And probably why she was presumed innocent on this, or ultimately was deemed innocent on this, was there were two pieces of precedent that already existed when she went to appeal this. And I'm assuming in cases like this, they always lean heavily on the precedent, right?
And we hope to be able to chat to her soon, but she's obviously awaiting an appeal. I will say what she has not done is just said, "Oh, I had sex with my boyfriend, he was taking it," and they've gone, "Cool, we'll let you off." There's lie detector tests, there's blood tests, there's hair tests for both partners, there's receipts, there is a mountain of evidence that has to be presented to get to this point. What it is not is now anyone that gets tested positive, you can say, "Oh, I had sex with someone, he was taking it," done. They had to go through
proper due
so
diligence.
much.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to be clear, Mark, you are the one that believed that, not our team, because I personally myself thought
100%.
that it was a complete BS excuse, and I thought that she was guilty. And I mean, I don't want to say I was excited because it's terrible in our sport when someone tests positive, but I was just like, hey, another freaking doper caught in our sport, which I was later on proved wrong through the ITA's finding and all that. And so, I mean, I'll accept that. But I don't know Imogen.
You don't even know her, do you?
I've talked to Imogen once in my entire life, and that was a DM 2 days ago that I said congratulations to her for fighting the fight. I don't even know her. I've never talked to her in my whole life.
No, never. I've never spoken to her.
And Carl, you met her.
The only time I talked to her was when we went to Taupo for 70.3 World Championship, and we were doing some cliff jumping together.
So this idea that we are all friends with her is absolutely laughable. I'm a friend of hers, and I've never hidden that. But
I only know one.
She's one of the people that's given me a hard. This is the funny thing, is she's the one that's given me a hard time because I asked her a question in the pro press conference before the race, and this is where the whole Kyle Glass Pro Tri News, because they were always like, IRONMAN, whenever we do these press conferences, they're like, state your name and your media source, and I always say Kyle Glass Pro Tri News, and that's Imogen the whole weekend. Then was like all messing with me all weekend, saying, "Are you Kyle Glass Pro Tri News?" That's the extent of our.
This notion that we've had massive favoritism is a bit awkward because it is actually just me. But I've been pretty, since day dot, let's be honest, quite clear about it. You guys don't even know her.
I only know one doper personally, and that's Colin. So I guess I do have a question though, Mark. And I don't want to punch down on Imogen, but if she tested positive for this, do you not think that she's getting a performance advantage over her competitors? Like, what can we just now say? Oh yeah, like what you said earlier, but she's getting a performance advantage now, and is that okay?
Yeah, so that's part of why she's been found innocent, right? Because the test she had 12 days before it and the one after it showed zero trace, and the positive test showed like beyond microscopic. And I think part of their finding her no fault is that if she had taken even a microdose the day after she was tested, as in the 12 days before test, if she'd taken a microdose, there would have still been 20 times as much in her system as was tested when she was positive. So the point there being, she can't, while she was being tested in that whole window, and she's been tested out of competition since, there's never been enough found in her system, even on that day, that could possibly give her an advantage. And at the end of the day as well, like I will say, most of Imogen's peers and pros that race against her, well, no, in fact, everyone I've ever spoken to believed that she did nothing wrong. No one believes that she was doping. Everyone I know feels like this was the inevitable outcome of this investigation, and she's never shown a performance gain. Like her 70.3 Worlds performance was completely on track with where she's been since 2019 when she finished on the podium at 70.3 Worlds. So yes, there was some in her system, but the fact it was out of her system within 5 days of it shows the volume was never enough to give a performance enhancement that lasts. And also, it's a stupid drug to take as an endurance athlete in the first place, by the way. It's just like, if you've got a dope, that's not the one you'd use, I would suggest.
Is she still with that guy that was
We're getting into the realms of like friendship discussions and stuff like that, but I believe not. No.
Okay. I do got to show one more thing. We posted this post on our Instagram, which I thought was pretty funny. If you haven't seen this picture, oh, by the way, if you don't watch us on YouTube, you should watch us on YouTube. All right, see this picture, guys? We took this in Nice, France. 10 seconds after this photo, I won't say who, but one of us told us, guys, guess what? I heard that Imogen is going to win this battle. And we all heard it right there. And that was, I think we were all just in shock at that point. Should we? Why did we just leak it then?
Yeah, true.
Because we hear like, I'm sure a lot of people are asking questions like, you found out in February, why didn't you say anything or do anything then? Like the amount of things and information that we receive individually and collectively as a group, if we just posted flippantly of every single thing that we hear or things that go on, ProTri News probably wouldn't exist, one. And two, there's no interest in any part of me that wants to be a TMZ style news. We want to post the facts. I want to post race results. I want to post standings, like things like that. ESPN and SportsCenter are things that I grew up on, and that's kind of the direction and what I want ProTri News to be.
I think this leads us on to a point that we've all agreed on, and that we have all fallen foul of using the words Talbot recently, but all of us in the past. We are not journalists. We will never use that phrase again, because journalists, we all agree, should be held to a certain code of conduct under an organization with a neutrality clause above it, and they should be responsible. Like there should be consequences for misuse of information. We are not journalists. We are essentially podcast bros that are very well connected, and we try to give you the news, and we try to do it with integrity and decency, but we aren't journalists. So in the past, we've used that line. There's no real reason for us saying we're not about to face any sort of daft liability or anything silly like that. We just want to be clear. Like, we respect that there are some people operating under a journalistic umbrella, and we would like to continue to operate with a bit more leniency. And that leniency is what allows us to post a bit of gossip, a bit of rumor, etc. But at the end of the day, we want to kind of try and hold ourselves to journalistic standards where it works.
We do follow the rule of three, though.
We do.
If we hear something from three sources, that's when we come together as a group and say, "Hey, I've heard this," and then either one or all of us will say, "Well, I heard it too from this place or this place," and then we talk about that and discuss it.
I gotta admit, though, I was a little bummed because I did get on ChatGPT and type in like, "How long does it take to get a journalist degree?" It's 4 years. This whole time, I thought since I got this credential from IRONMAN, I had a journalist degree, and it's not the truth. I'm pretty.
That's a problem.
I've been like going around. I show people this. They're like,
it's
"What
not
is
even called journalism." It's not even.
I'm a journalist.
It's a journalist. It's a journalist degree, Pat.
Journalist. I mean, I was trying to get into the White House with this credentials. They were like, "Who are you with?" And I'm like, "I got a journalist degree right here from
Hey,
IRONMAN."
Laura Luma got in there. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right. I think that we've spent quite enough time on this in this news.
Will we talk about this again?
Yeah.
Or is this just done?
With this will be revisited, and we'll talk about the details of the case, and we hope maybe that Imogen will join our show. But if she just chooses not to, I can't really blame her after the last 9 months she's had. But we hope to have her on.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
Another bit of news that came out this week was the 70.3 World Championship start list. It's a pretty stacked race, guys. Like, I mean, we got 70 women and about 70 men, with quite a few names missing. This is what I struggle with is like, do we say missing like if they qualified and then now they're not racing, or do we say missing if they didn't even qualify but they're like they're Hayden Wild? You know what I mean? Like, where do you guys stand on that?
I think you can call it either way, right? I mean, let's use the two examples you just mentioned. One, Hayden Wild, he's missing from the race because he didn't qualify, right? Point one. Point two, Lionel Sanders qualified for the race, not racing, right? And so those are the two cases.
Because he's injured.
Sure. But I'm just saying,
like that's his own fault, though.
Oh, no. But I'm just saying those two names have earned the right to be mentioned as, hey, they're missing from the start list.
Yeah.
And so I don't really care either way, whether they didn't qualify or whether they didn't. It could have been in the case. Again, let's use Hayden Wild as an example. Let's say he went to a race and that was his one shot to get on the start list for it, had a puncture. We'd all be talking about it because he had a mechanical, right? And so I just think there are names that we wish were doing it, right?
Yeah.
We wish that Lionel was doing it. We wish that Hayden was doing it.
Why wouldn't someone like Hayden just get a wild card slot? Why wouldn't Ironman just say, hey, Hayden, you got second place last year and you've just been beating up the T100 since you came back from your injury. Why wouldn't someone like Ironman give him like a wild card slot?
I'll cover this. Ironman has the right to give out a wild card at their discretion, right? There's four different criteria on what they can pull from it, right? Now, in the case of Hayden, we'll use that. They might look at it and go, look, Hayden chose to do another series. He didn't prioritize ours in any capacity. We're not going to give him one. It could have been a tiny bit different in the case we can play shoulda, woulda, coulda. If Hayden had done two Ironman races but had crazy things happen, they might have said, hey, we can give this. But if you look in the past, it does take a pretty large moment for Ironman to hand out a wild card, right? They've given them to athletes that have gotten, certainly like, I'm sorry, Talbot, I'm blanking on the gentleman who got in the incident at Kona. A car out in front of
Tim Don.
No.
but then before that was
Matt Russell.
Matt Russell. Thank you.
And it happened to Laura Siddle, by the way, with Brazil. They gave her the slot after she was hit by a car as well.
Yep. And so I think those are the, I don't want to call it force majeure moments, but I mean, it's really these moments that are out of an athlete's control and maybe out of the organization's control that they'll deem it necessary and say, hey, look, we're going to give them a wild card. But, even in the case of Olympic medalists in years past that have been chasing like an Olympic pathway that had tried to come in, they wouldn't give it. So they have the right to give them, but it's you do not want to rely on that, right? As an athlete.
I've heard though that Hayden, his agent, I believe, asked, and then Hayden asked Ironman for slots. Has anyone else heard that?
I've heard that Hayden asked. Sorry, I heard that his agent asked and it was denied, and then Hayden was not happy and asked himself.
And it was also denied.
The thing is, though, what we know about Ironman is their policies are built around they want you to do their races, which seems incredibly reasonable when they then put up $75,000 for the win at 70.3 Worlds. It's like a pathway to get there. And if other athletes go out of their way to qualify and you make no effort to qualify, I said the same, and I can't be accused of bashing on Hayden here because I said the same actually about Taylor Knibb, who I love, and I think I've bashed on inadvertently in the last few shows, and I never meant to. I think Taylor's the nicest girl on the circuit. It's always kind and whatever to everyone. I said the same about her. She made no effort to qualify for Nice, and they said no, and I had the same position on her. I think, like everyone knows, that's the nice thing about Ironman. you know what it takes to race Kona and 70.3 Worlds. There's no doubt. There's no drama. There's no discretion. You qualify, you race. Unlike some of the other races.
And the other piece with, we'll use 70.3 Worlds as an example. Ironman would be looking at it and going, hey, look, we gave you plenty of chances. There's 70 women and 70 men on the start list. Like, and all due respect, the quality of field is not, I mean, it's just not super deep, right? Like a Hayden Wild could.
Let me read a couple more names that aren't racing due to either qualifying or not qualifying. Kyle Smith, Martin Van Riel, Sam Laidlow, 3 other big names.
Yeah,
but why aren't they racing? Yeah, but they qualified. Van Riel
Kyle
qualified.
Smith, I don't believe qualified.
Okay.
Martin Van Riel did qualify at 70.3.
That's choice. It's just choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm on. I have Wikipedia pulled up right now, which I probably hadn't opened in a long time, but it's showing me the Ironman World Championship 2009. Craig Alexander, Chris Lieto, Andreas Raylert. That's the podium. It doesn't say all the people who missed that year as well. I just think that it's like, at the end of the day, you can only race the people that were there. And I'm guilty of this because I was critical of an athlete who won in Finland, Rico Bogan, and Mark reminded me, and he was like, bro, it was phenomenal performance. He beat everyone on that playing field. And then I ate my own words because Rico's one of the best athletes in the world, and I think he's completely capable of winning in Marbella.
Yeah, 1,000%. Let's go through the women. You guys think Julie Duran's not on the start list, Ash Gentle's not on the start list, Taylor Knibb, Lucy Charles, you guys think they're going to show up?
Man,
I think let's give
use your bias. Is T Knibb going or not?
Let's give that another week. I think. Look, here's one thing I'll say. I think every female that did Kona that's on the start list in Marbella has had a moment from Saturday in Kona till today where they've asked themselves, am I really doing Marbella? They've all had that moment. So I think there's going to be some shoes.
Mark, did you guys have that moment today?
No, today was that one day in 30 that a man wishes he wasn't married. So the misery I felt today was unrelated to anything to do with racing outside of triathlon.
Good Lord.
Am I getting murdered for that? No, I think every woman listening to this podcast.
Finish it because I am interested to hear what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. I think every man listening to this podcast and every woman listening to this podcast is going, fair play. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. There's nothing miserable to be said about that. That's just completely reasonable. I'm going to hypothesize. I think Lucy Charles probably walked away from that race in pretty good shape. I think hers was a bit of a blow up, bit of a heat thing. She was still on her feet when she left the race course. She left it almost, like 18, 19K earlier than Taylor did. I could see them both on the start line. I could see neither of them the start line. But if I had to be a betting man, I would say Lucy Charles will be there, but maybe Taylor Knibb not. I'm not sure she needs to as well. She's won, the last 3 or something?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if she needs it. She's proved herself as the greatest 70.3 athlete on earth right now. And does she need to rush it back? I don't know if she does, but that's just a guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I've already given our YouTube a shout out on this, but this is why you need to be watching on YouTube. We're talking about Taylor Knibb, if she's racing or not. And one of our co-hosts decides to walk away from the screen. So pathetic. Pathetic.
Let's transition a little bit. Who are you guys most excited to see race?
KB. I think KB will rip. I think he'll just stay with the front of the race throughout the bike. People will get dropped. KB will be there, and he will run like a 105 high or something absolutely insane. I'm here for KB. I think Casper could be great. I think all those boys, but I reckon KB is hungry, and I don't know. I think he's untouchable at this distance, even with Hayden on the start list. That's a bold statement because I think Hayden is maybe the best middle distance athlete in the world right now, but KB is the one I'm excited for.
This is the first time that we're going to see Yelagines and Rico Bogan because they've been at T100. This is going to be the first time we're going to see a little bit of overlap. We're not getting the whole T100 Ironman overlap, but we are getting some.
We'll see if Casper gets lucky again. I don't think it'll happen again.
Talbot, who are you most excited to see race?
Dude, a lot of people don't know that's an inside joke. Casper and I always tell him, you got lucky. And so he listens to our show. So I had to throw that in there. I'm excited. Casper actually just threw up a video and he's wearing Adidas now, which is kind of funny. Did he just sign a big deal with Adidas? Did a big workout in all these Adidas shoes. I just think that it's the three amigos, and they're all like, "All right, guys, we all got a world championship, and two of them got a 70.3 world championship." And they're like, "All right, we'll give you one, Casper. We'll give you one.
There's
We already
no
have
one.
ours. We'll give you one."
After Nice, there's no way they're giving him an inch.
What about you, Pat?
I don't like. Look, we all left KB off for the win and Nice, and we all got insanely lucky.
We really did, yeah.
We got away with that. I don't like the idea of, I mean, what the run that he did, obviously in Oceanside, right, was I think a pretty big warning shot for his capacity at that distance, right?
It was a 106 that he put down at Oceanside.
And just the sheer speed he can do, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, he's the favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit different to remember the race dynamic in Nice, where they put the pressure on KB, right? Because he is the favorite. And will there be that moment in Marbella that they look to either KB or now this time to Casper and say, now you're wearing the yellow jersey, homie. It's your turn.
I think this will be. Sorry, Pat.
No. Will we look at that on Sunday afternoon in Marbella and go, didn't expect that?
I think despite some of the nonsense I'm hearing coming out of Marbella, I'm pretty sure it'll be a wetsuit swim. And it's only 1,900 meters. I picture it being a massive front pack in the men's race where there isn't that leaning on going on. And I think maybe KB's learned his lesson that he can give a bit of a gap. So if Rico goes, does he what does he spot Rico? 4 minutes?
Rico and Jamie Riddle's going to be up there too.
Yeah, but they don't get that gap that they had in the non-wetsuit swim 3.8K.
Yeah. True.
You almost wonder though. Okay, so now let's try not to make this the 70.3 show, but with so many men and women on the start line, right? And there's an absence of information on the road. Who is that in the men's race? Who's that front runner that gets sucked along in like a Rico Bogan push that KB and Casper aren't thinking about? And they go, okay, well, I'm comfortable spotting Rico 3.5 minutes, but you've got somebody else that sneaks into that group and they just don't know, and they go, oh shoot, I didn't think about that person.
I don't want to get, like you said, we shouldn't turn this into 70.3 show, but no one can ride with Rico if he goes, and if he can go, it's a KB, it's a Gustav Eden. Like the people that can outrun them or even come close definitely can't outride them here.
Yeah,
Batados, he can do damage on the run, but if he makes the bike group, those boys easy.
I guess where I'm thinking is do we have an issue where the traffic in the men and the women's race, where if Casper or KB or even Gustav has a swim that's not ideal and they're behind 40 people, is there some place where they miss something on the way out to the big climb where they go, okay, shoot, like I just had so many bodies in front of me, by the time the race sorted out, that group was gone.
So I had a great night with Philip Seep after the awards dinner. Rico Bogan, he is pushing 450 watts for 20 minutes as a threshold. He's riding 400 watts for 2 hours in the T100 races, right? But he is quite heavy, so the climbs potentially don't help him. If he gets clear, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
But if he gets clear, no one that is dangerous to the Norwegians can stay with him, is my point. But you're right, Pat, that could be interesting. But that sort of power is like nothing we've ever seen in triathlon, ever.
There's there's a lot of athletes on the men's list. You still got Vincent Louis, you got a Seth Ryder, Sam Dickinson, tons of athletes. I do got to give a shout out if you guys think we do a lot of investigation. Tri-Pole Athlete is like one of my favorite
so good.
Instagram accounts. They run this incredible graphic that they show like athletes that are on the start list that are not racing, that are in Spain already training, en route, quiet on socials. It's really, really cool. But to the female side of things, I mean, it makes me excited to watch Cat race because it will be very interesting if the likes of Lucy and Taylor don't show up. It's really a free-for-all who could win this race. You got tons of other athletes. You got Ellie Salthouse coming off another phenomenal performance. Paula Finley, who traditionally does really good on courses like this. I mean, it is...
I would say Paula is the athlete. So just to take you back one, by the way, people, that is try-poll, P-O-L-L, space athlete. Brilliant page. Do follow her. She does some excellent work. I would say Paula Finley is... she's the athlete, the only person, almost men or women, that has focused on this as their A priority of the year. She's been quite honest about that. She climbs brilliantly well. She was super good in was it the French race where she just dropped across the gap for about a minute on a climb? She climbs great. I think Paula's really after this. Laura Phillips not going to race. We know that. Solveig Lofseth suddenly makes herself dangerous. Don't think she's a long course athlete because her run in Venice Jeslo early in the year was like a 1:16 high off a bike split that was 6 minutes faster than anyone else in the race. But the problem is we can't hype the women's up too much because we don't know if Taylor or Lucy are racing. And that changes our entire discussion.
Yeah. Also the likes of Georgia Taylor Brown racing as well.
And Jess Learmoth.
Jess Learmoth, yeah.
Sif Madsen, who's put down some laser bike times, partner of Magnus Ditlev, who also supposedly is super fit. I'm pretty excited for Lena Meisner versus Caroline Pohl again. I mean, European Championship, sprint finish. Come on. So we won't turn this too much into the preview show, but just a little taste given the start list came out this week. We did want to talk about it a little bit. We still got one more. We'll do the preview show next week. So get ready for that. The other thing that came out this week was the 2026 Pro Calendar for Ironman. I had pretty bad ADHD / I took some Tylenol before I went to bed and created an insane spreadsheet last year. So all I did was had to update it a little bit. And we were able to pull up what races are in, what races are out, Pro Series changes, clashes, things like that. I don't know how much you guys are interested in hearing about this, but
go on, tell me.
No, hit it.
Okay. The races that are out: 17.3 St. George, 17.3 Venice Jeslo. The other change is 70.3 Nice is going to be women only this year. Another change is Victoria Gasteiz, instead of being a full Ironman, is now 70.3. And then for our British audience, Leeds is now gone, but we do have Ironman Wales, and it will be both genders. Did I keep you guys there? You ready for some more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other races that are in are 70.3 in Uruguay in March, 70.3 Dallas, which is in Texas, not a pretty easy drive, and 70.3 Gulf Coast in May. You still there?
Still here, mate.
Pro Series changes. So they added Ironman New Zealand, removed Ironman Cairns, added 70.3 Elsinore, and upgraded 70.3 Pennsylvania from just a pro race to a Pro Series race. Ironman Kalmar in Sweden is now a Pro Series race, and 70.3 Boise coming off of Ironman Lake Placid.
Real quick note.
I got to say, Kyle, before you go, brilliantly summed up, mate.
Yeah, really, really good.
Very smooth.
One of our winners from the live show, Trudy, has decided that she won one of the Ironman entry slots. She's decided she's racing Ironman New Zealand. And I believe Kyle's going to go out that way as well.
Me and Mark. We're staying at the Airbnb with the McKinseys.
But Kyle, you're racing, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing the 70. Well, the thing is, I was going to do the full, and then I realized how stacked. Listen. I saw how stacked the full was, and I'm like, I think I could get around and do the half and then be able to watch the end of the pro race. So I'm
It's
gonna
all
do the
right,
half
Mark.
and
We
then watch
can't
the pro race.
we can't rely on Kyle. Trudy will hold up Pro Tri News into the bargain for us, so she's going to be out there racing. We'll keep you up to date on her journey as well.
Can we
Can we
talk about
get
a little?
Can
a
we get
little-
her a sick wing kit, by the way, like a nice one
Well,
with PTN on?
I believe that she's with us. I'm going to say it wrong, but I believe she's with the squad. Cador. And now it's like blanking from my head.
Like a
I believe
Kiwi based group.
I think so.
Zealand-based
Well,
group.
we'll read it on the next show. I'll let you know what squad she's a part
Okay,
of.
fine.
I do have a couple things here, guys, because
Okay,
I've been
go on.
able to cross-reference a couple of things. There's a little bit of a clash here. The same weekend of 70.3 Geelong, which is a Pro Series race, is the same weekend as T100 Gold Coast. Now, we don't know if it's men or women or whatever, but those are on the same weekend. Another couple races that are the same weekend, 70.3 Elsinore and Quiberion, which is, I believe, a WTCS and a T100 race. We haven't had the full T100 calendar out yet, just like a couple races here and there. The other conflict is going to be Ironman Kalmar and T100 Vancouver, and then 70.3 World Championship and WTCS Karlovy Vary.
Okay,
What about T100 Saudi Arabia?
Whoa, whoa!
There's a World Cup, Mark. There's a World Cup there, so I think you're getting a little bit of a tiny bit ahead of yourself.
Talking about
Sorry,
the World
I
Cup.
just.
There's a
Oh,
World
yeah,
Cup.
okay, yeah. What about?
No.
This is why people listen to the show. What about?
Okay,
What
I
about?
want to. Okay, but instead of, I'd like to say a little bit. We know a ton about a fair bit of stuff that we hear, but what we know nothing about, and I'm going to own it here, is how Ironman picks these races, on how they're going to be pro races, and then how they're going to be pro series. So I think, other than we know, that the brainchild, and this was Andrew Messick's baby when he left the pro series, we don't really know how they're deciding these pro series races along the way, right? Year 3 of this, and we still don't. It seems like they're, it's not a problem, but they're throwing darts a little bit.
But I will say they're kind of doing a brilliant job.
No, I agree. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying we don't know anything. We actually don't know how the sausage is made on this one.
I even saw Scott DeRue in Nice, and he was like, "Hey, I heard your comment on the show making fun of Pennsylvania Happy Place," and I was like, "Yeah," because I couldn't think of a more boring
Happy
place
place,
to
Happy
go.
Valley.
Happy Valley. And he laughed, and he was like, "You'll be surprised. It is one of the best feedback they've ever heard from 70.3, from the pro athletes, the amateur athletes, and all that." So supposedly it's an amazing venue.
So do you think in Tampa they got all the events on one of those like wheels that you do at a carnival, right? And they go, okay, March 8th, spin the wheel, and then they spin it, and then it lands on a venue, and they go, that's where we're going.
Half the people in the room are yay, the other half are oh.
I think they've done a pretty good job at spreading them out and then making sure they align, and then also too, these cities, they always have so many, whether it's a carnival, a fair, a golf tournament, all these different types of events. So it's probably just working with the local tourism department to see when it fits in and stuff. I would guess.
I will toot Ironman New Zealand's horn a little bit. From the pro athletes that I've talked to over 10 pro athletes already about them saying they're doing Ironman New Zealand. So
I'll be honest.
If you want to go to New Zealand and you've always wanted to go, this is the year to do that.
Ironman New Zealand is going to be fucking lit. Everyone I've spoke to is off to New Zealand, but for more than just the fact it's a brilliant race, we if you listen to us, that we thought Taupo 70.3 Worlds was maybe one of the greatest races we have ever been to. But you can bank an Ironman in March. You could then roll on to Texas. You're done. You're done by April, and you just wait for October and do whatever else you want.
Ironman Challenge Roth.
Good idea.
Well, even just these T100 races that are going to pop up eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant idea from Ironman. I think Ironman New Zealand, we will start the year hot in March.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anything else about the calendar that you guys noticed, or I don't know if you have questions for me, but I can answer them if you want.
Can you just read off the list of the T100 dates for us? Just...
Only if you're on YouTube, you would have saw that.
Oh gosh. The other couple things worth noting. 70.3 Oceanside's a week earlier this year. Ironman Texas a week earlier this year. So if you usually plan for that being the first weekend in April, it's obvious it's the last weekend in March this year, and then Ironman Texas is the middle of April.
Texas.
Mark, what could Ironman do to entice a few more athletes that are doing the series but have been quiet about actually their commitment to it, or then quiet about their calendar? How could they help just entice them a little bit to just build a little more hype and a little more media around it?
Like Laura Phillip, Luce Charles, these people that don't necessarily announce. I think you should not qualify for invitation finance, hotels, flights, any of the stuff they give to the big athletes. You know, it's not a lot. We're not talking loads of money, but you know, we all know athletes on the card that they might give hotel room to a few $1,000s here or there for travel. You're not eligible unless you announce your intentions with Ironman.
Yeah,
it's super simple, because actually for like a big athlete, if you're going to go race 5 with them, that's 15 grand's worth of stuff here or there. Nothing more than that, but maybe that makes you think about, like, I'll announce. I think they should just be that cutthroat. I think, you know, you don't get Kona, whatever it is, you get nothing unless you announce your Ironman intentions.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard though, right? Because
Sorry, you just asked me what you can do. One of your athletes definitely doesn't want to do that, and now you're going to make up an excuse why they can't do that.
No. That's not true. That's not true. I was going to say where Ironman gets into hot water on it is the athlete that's ranked 6th through 13th, right? They don't really care if those people announce, right?
I'm not saying if you announce, you get something. I'm saying if you don't announce, you're not eligible for it.
Yeah, it's still just a slippery slope, I guess, if we're on the Ironman side on how they're gonna divvy that out.
Talbot, is that a slippery slope, or what we're thinking?
No, because they're gonna get a message from Susie, who's ranked 7th, that says, "Hey, I announced my schedule. Can you give me hotel rooms and
But Susie
a banana?
But Susie messages them anyway, and Susie gets told to do one. She does right now.
Yeah,
poor old Susie gets mugged off every time.
Yeah.
What would you do, Pat? You asked me what I would do. What would you do?
No, I think what you said was perfect. The athletes that intend to do the Pro Series, they should say, "Hey, look, we'd love for you to announce that you're doing the Pro Series by this date with your preferred calendar, and if you do that, this is what we'll do." I only had one female do the Pro Series last year, and
I think.
You know what I mean?
I don't think that does anything. I think that it's just work. Just say it's your intent to do it, then try to work with Ironman on the races, because that always ebbs and flows and stuff. And so
and those athletes that work with Ironman, like Taylor, like Lucy Charles, like Kat, Ironman look after them as well.
Yeah.
Cool. We good on that? Ready to move on?
Totally.
Yeah.
70.3 Langkawi in Malaysia. Talbot, you can just tune out for a second, okay?
Why?
Well, I'm just gonna go through this race real quick for 2 seconds, and I know that you might get a little bored. So,
it's so fair, Talbot.
70.3 Malaysia. Ironman. Josh Hamburger's racing. Josh Ferris is racing. Tyler Mislawchuk is racing. On the men's side. On the women's side, you got Julie Duran, Natalie Van Coverden, Regan Holyoke, Fenella Langrich. Go a little bit further down the list. That's pretty much it. So, heavy Australian / some WTCS people.
The only thing I take from that is Natalie Van Coverden is therefore not doing 70.3 worlds, you would assume.
Is she on the start list? I can't remember.
Yeah, she's qualified, so she's obviously not going to do it if she's going there this weekend. You know, she's a notable athlete, I guess.
Okay.
I don't care about you reading start lists to boring races, and I would be way bigger fan of those races if they reached out to Pro Tri News and offered first-class business flights, hotels.
I don't want to go to Malaysia. I can promise
Money.
you that. It's like one of the hottest races on the circuit. I don't want to go to Malaysia. I'm good on that. You can go.
Little holiday. I'll
You
take
can
a
go.
holiday.
Come
there.
on.
Oh wait, is Noosa Tri? Is that coming up this weekend too?
Well,
They've
what
already
is-
deemed. They've
Oh,
already
yeah, it
given the win
is.
away. They
what
already.
is
is
They
coming
already
up?
announced. the
Cassandra
winner.
Beaugrand.
Yeah, she's already won. They already announced.
Yes,
they are
it-
already having the trophy made with her name on it.
By the way,
Really?
Cassandra Beaugrand actually looks real good on a time trial bike. I was surprised to see her. I was surprised to see her on a time trial bike full stop, and I will say she looks powerful and settled. And I like Talbot says she wins that race so easy without Ash Gentle there.
Yeah, I couldn't help when I saw that. I don't know why. I saw her riding, and all I thought about was Gwen Jorgensen on a TT bike. I was like, that's what
Man.
Gwen. That's what Gwen would look like on a TT bike.
That's not what I thought about when I saw her on that TT bike, but okay.
Oh, because Gwen wouldn't have that good of a fit because her husband doesn't know how to fit, or what?
Oh no, I saw Pat on a cross bike this weekend in a beautiful skin suit. What are those colours, Pat? That is a nice skin suit.
No, we got to give Pat a hard time for his sunglasses because he's
Oh,
talked
he
so much
looks-
shit on those Oakley Katos, and then he wore them in a race.
Kyle, when a client gives you Oakleys, you got to wear the Oakleys. Okay, that's the deal. And then
Man, I
the ski-
sure hope Kurt and Mac are not listening to this show right now from Roca.
well, I wore theirs the weekend before, so I spread the love. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was top
totally.
10. I was top 10 in my cross race.
Take
Totally.
it.
Okay,
That's nice,
Noosa
Pat.
Hold on. Noosa Triathlon start list. I'm trying to get it pulled up. I'm having a pretty difficult time right now, to be honest.
Any hot takes?
On the men's
Any
side-
hot take? Okay,
Men's
sorry.
side, Luke Willian, Jake Birtwhistle, Kurt McDonald, Jamie Riddle. No way he's doing that. He's in Barcelona already.
Yeah, no chance.
Um,
Well, I guess he flies
Taylor-
home.
Taylor Reed, Jonas Schoenberg. I guess Jonas is not doing 70.3 Worlds. Interesting. Women's side, Ash Gentle, Rochelle Hill, who just won U23 World Championship, Lottie Wilms, Milan Agnew, Anna Bergson, Beck Clark, Chloe Hartnett, Ellie Hotink, Natalie Van Coverdon. Anyways,
It's the Ashley Gentle, not memorial race. It's the Ashley Gentle celebration race, and when she's not doing it, I'm not that interested.
yeah, Ash Gentle's
I've
won.
heard though
let's
weekend.
give a shout out. She won 11 the last 11 times in a row, 11 of the last 13. So she's only lost twice since what's 13 years ago? 2012.
I mean, the girl is a ripper on a.
I mean,
if
if I was Ellie
11.
Salthouse or Natalie Van Coverdon, I would be all over taking advantage of Ash not being there
100%.
and grabbing a. I mean, that is. I would love to go watch that race one day. It would be incredible. It's owned by Ironman, so it never happened. But if T100 could have an event there, it would be the greatest T1 event they've ever done.
I bet
So-
Ironman would bring you down there for the race if you ever wanted to go watch it, Talbot.
I might be down for that. It's just always post Kona, you know.
Yeah, are you wearing? What are you
And-
wearing
and
sunglasses
your
for?
wife-
Are you
and
running
your
a?
wife.
Are you running a poker tournament or something?
Pat's all talking big Oakley guy over here. I can't get Welchie to give me a pair of sunglasses for 4 years in a row now, so I'm wearing my Rocas right now.
Those
My
that don't know,
aviators.
Greg Welch, his day job is the Oakley rep. He is the pro triathlete rep for Oakley. Anyway, can we do some hot takes, please? I'm
Let's
bored.
transition to some hot takes. Yeah. So the first hot take is we've got so many messages about this Ironman California age group slot allocation of the performance slots that now are being awarded to qualify for the Ironman World Championship. Now, we are pro Tri News. However, we understand that 30 to 50,000 people that listen to this podcast every week are age group athletes or in the age group athlete sphere and want us talking about this. Who wants to kick us off?
I don't know if we have the expertise to talk about it. One, two, there's some incredible news outlets that are covering it. I don't know if that's our sphere, and I would like to be pretty well knowledged if we are going to talk about it to like a better understanding on both sides.
That's your opinion, Mark?
That is the first time Talbot's ever had to be well read on a subject to talk about it. I, however, have not felt the need to be well read on a subject to talk about it, so I'll just wade in completely ignorantly anyway. Though Talbot is right, there are have a look on some of the brilliant outlets. The citing Ironman California as the example is the thing I found most interesting. As Kyle rightly pointed out to me, it was 6 days after the Ironman Women's World Championships. So on a performance-based system where your performance isn't relative to the people in your category, it's relative to a historic basis of performance, i.e. the aggregated 3-year performance in the World Championships within your category. It's not that surprising to me that the women didn't fare very well compared to the men when the 1,600 best women in the world raced the week before, so therefore weren't racing. So I think it's a pretty bad example to cite. As far as I'm aware, I don't know what the numbers Carl's showing me.
Sorry, I was just doing the math. There was 400 women that finished that race and 22 athletes that raced, so 18% was what the women's field made up in Ironman California. So also that also adds to the layer
which actually is a fairly good turnout for female participation in your average Ironman. As far as I'm aware, currently qualifying, there's a higher percentage of women qualifying than there are represented in races. So I'm not saying that's the gold standard, but all I will say is the notion that it's harder for women to qualify than men is still not true. It is harder to qualify as a male than a female. Of course, if you are a 50 to 55-year-old male right now, the way the metric is skewing, it does seem like they're taking up a bulk percentage of the slots. Of course, as well, this will change over the years because it looks back 3 years and it aggregates the times. And so now when the next World Champs rolls around, that the 3 year prior gets deleted and the current most recent results gets updated into it. And if you have a super good, highly competitive 55 to 50 whatever category, then that becomes harder. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but all those tables they show as well, they don't show the fact that the first place in every age group automatically qualifies anyway. It also doesn't show that, like, the lady that really made that viral, she came second in her age group. Well, yeah, she finished 50 minutes behind first place in her age group. Whereas in the men's 50 to 55 category, they got 21 athletes within that window. So it's messy. As long as more women qualify than they are represented, we still have a progression and a draw through of women. And if you don't want that, then you kind of want 50-50. Well, then it becomes about 8 times harder for a man to qualify than a woman. And I guess what you're championing is compensating for historic sexism, which has existed in our societies, but has not existed in triathlon. So is that the place to address it? Because triathlon is always paid equally, etc., etc. I don't know.
To defend initially seeing that initial post, I feel just out of feelings, it was unfair, but I did do some deeper research and kind of understood and would like a better explanation. And maybe we can get someone on our show to break down and show us on the graphs and the charts and all that. But I do know what you mean, Mark.
I think Tim Hemming did a great article on it, as always. And I think there's a good breakdown on maybe Triathlete magazine. But honestly, it depends on what you want. Do you want 50-50? If you want 50-50, of course you're upset. Do you want proportional representation? Well, you're actually kind of getting close to that through this system by accident anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
There.
Next one. This was submitted by a listener. If you can't qualify for 70.3 World Championship 2 years in a row, let's remind everyone there's 70 professional athletes that qualify for 70.3 World Championship. If you cannot qualify for the 70.3 World Championship 2 years in a row, you should have your pro card revoked.
I mean, how many U.S. pro triathletes are there?
Too many.
4,987.
This brings up a good point. I heard that USAT is actually rewriting the criteria for being a professional athlete for racing for the US of A. So
you have to get 4 cornflake packet tokens instead of 3.
Depends
So,
on.
I think obviously the 2 years of not qualifying for 70.3 worlds is probably a little too steep.
It's a good point, though, isn't it?
But they're not. Here's the thing, they're not far off, right? Like that. I think is the harsh reality. And then I mean, here's the other harsh reality. If you're ranked somewhere if you're doing the start list for 70.3 worlds, I mean, what do we think the average sponsorship is of the athletes that are going to get 40 through 70th? Mark?
0.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Somewhere between $0 and $15,000, right?
Oh,
So
no. Well, unless they've got a niche that they can like flag off. Yeah, you're right, Pat. Nothing.
So that is the harsh reality of our sport too. Is like, yes, you could be a pro in the name on your license, but the reality is like you're not making a living wage. And so I think that listener who supported that take is pretty darn close. But obviously there's these weird scenarios that we talked about of athletes get injured, they don't do 70.3 worlds, athletes choose to do a T100, which are valid races, they're not in. So anyway.
What about 3 years then? So we extend it out to 3 years.
I think what we're kind of getting at is Ironman, I think, are at a point where they have a right to set their own criteria and override their governing bodies, because it would also help them sort out their start list issues, massive numbers, people getting lapped in the swim, involved in the women's race. Actually, Ironman are in a space now where I think they could justify doing their own criteria on top. So you have to have your national governing body, but then to race an Ironman race, you also have to fulfill this criteria. And I haven't got a good example off the top of my head. It's probably not quite that, but I quite like that hot take. It's really good. Yeah. But it could be something else.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, or I mean, this is what Ironman should go back to, right? What would be really simple is if they had a robust ranking system for their own series, and they said, look, like, we'll give you a license for a period of up to 2 years if you're within this amount of ranking. But if you fall out of it after, a certain amount of weeks, then we're going to revoke your license.
Well, yeah, once you've got your license from your national federation, you have X number of years or time space to qualify for one of our licenses. And if you don't have that, you lose it. Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Next hot take. Are you guys interested in all who's going to be the highest ranked, like, from the series, if there's like overlap? Like, let's say so-and-so is ranked in the top 10 of the WTCS standings, but also the T100 standings, or like being ranked in multiple series standings. Like, it was cool to follow last year with Kat, obviously being Ironman Pro Series champion and then being in the top 5 of the T100. Are those things that are cool or interesting at all to you guys, or you, Pat, as an agent?
They get more merit than I think they should from brands that are, I'll say, tri-curious, that are trying to dip their toe into sponsoring this, right? And they stumble across these ranking systems. So while us or super dorks kind of roll our eyes at them, there is a certain amount of merit that does, position these ranking systems as some sort of value prop for brands and for athletes. Talbot?
I feel it had the most merit when T100 had an overall ranking system that ranked it fair based on money. And now I feel like that it's kind of
on prize money. Yeah.
On prize money, yeah. Which I wish they would go back to that, but yeah.
I think the Pro Series ranking for me is not a ranking system. It's a competition throughout the year. So you're not ranked number one at any point until the season's done. So I don't think Ironman has a ranking system. It has a competition throughout the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the T100 actually is the same. And I think TCS is the same. That's at the end of the year, they are competitions throughout the year, and you can't judge throughout the year on those. The only one that still exists, I think, that has any credibility is the PTO ranking system. And given the way they're moving next year away from contracts and after the first race, your eligibility to race T100 races will be based off your PTO ranking. it becomes it almost makes it more important yet again. I think the only ranking system that has any credibility still is the PTO one. But like you guys say, the fact that every T100 race is now like diamond tier, wherever it is, it does weight slightly heavier towards those athletes.
The problem that I have, the issue I have with it being diamond tier race are similar to like, not to take away from the athletes that got to race it, but the T100 in Wollongong had way more wildcard athletes than have ever had before. And so now they were going to have some super heavy weighted score that they would have never had. So
that's just to me, that's just the game, I guess, a little bit. Like that's the blessing of, if you're willing to take the flight down to Australia, like you do get to leapfrog some points. Like,
yeah. Too right. Yeah. But,
so
you know.
I think that, but I'm not like pushing back. I'm just saying, like, that's the game you got to play, right?
Yeah. It's fair. It's fair play.
And on both sides, men and women, there are girls and boys that are in the top, few that have not raced a T100 all year.
Yeah.
Christian's up there, Kat's up there. They both might actually move into number one, I think, after the date transpires, and they've not raced a single T100 race. So it's not that biased towards them. If they can get to number one without racing a single T100 race, I don't think we can sit here and say it's that biased.
So then what happens to the T100? Because back in the day when the podcast started, right, every Monday when the rankings would update, they would post a new who's the world number one, what's the shift. So what's going to happen? Are we going to go back to like a new importance around that on Mondays? Like, are we going to look at that because we're going to sit there and go, okay, such and such is ranked 24th. We think they're going to roll on to the start list.
I think so. I think that, or at least they now get us chance.
But I guess, so are we encouraging T100 to put some time and energy into marketing that on social? Because I like
can do that. I mean, Pro Tri News can do that and say, here's our new pro ranking. Like, this is the new. I mean, this is an argument that we got into with the T100, right? Whenever they were first announcing it, we were like, hey, we want to talk about it on Sunday's show of like, who's the new number one? And they were like hesitant because they were like, we want to post that. And it's like, well, we can also talk about it.
Whatever. I don't care.
Like, every media outlet can talk about it.
You can work it out within minutes of
Yeah.
who's going to move to number one, etc., etc. It's so easy.
But you think we're going to go back to that where we are talking about it on Sunday's show?
I like it. Yeah, I really
like it. I thought it was
cool
because it was rolling. There was pregnancy clauses. There was all this stuff in it.
I want to talk about it on November 17th. But yeah, I think we should do it.
Is that when Kat presumably passes Solveig Lofseth, the 2023 Indian Wells 70.3 champion that you guys
is when Kat overtakes Taylor to take the number one spot. Yeah, it should be. I think it's November 16th or something. Not that I've worked it out, boys. Not that I've worked it out.
All right, a couple more hot takes. Will Ironman, this was a question from a pro athlete. Do you guys think that Ironman will lower the Pro Series bonus from 200K since now T100 has also lowered theirs?
No.
No.
They don't need to.
Reasoning. Why do you guys not think?
It's paying off for them.
Yeah, it's working.
It's paying off, and we've kind of asked Scott and Andrew before, I believe, maybe on the record or off the record, why don't they go up to $1 million? And they say once you go up, you can never go back.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know if they'll go back.
The key word that Andrew and both Scott have hit on was sustainability, and with it, repeatability. And now they got a 5-year runway, so I'm assuming it's going to stay roughly the same for 5 years, which I think is awesome. And now they're going to sit there and go, okay, how can we build on this and continue to sell against it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they'll look at it from a world of, okay, we're going to make these next 5 years incredibly robust and sound. We've got a huge amount of attendance that we're blowing out registration in Europe. And as they can continue to expand the base, I think ultimately it'll hopefully feed into pros.
And Pat, what you mean there is because Oman has obviously covered the cost for 5 years essentially of their Pro Series as part of that deal. So they have no need to take the money down because they have the cost covered by a sponsor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Last hot take. Who is Lionel Sanders?
What has Lionel Sanders been? We haven't seen him since
Oh,
St.
well,
George.
yeah, he won Oceanside pretty convincing fashion, and then he won St. George in pretty convincing fashion. And I think that people on the show called him for winning 70.3 World Championship in Marbella and/or doing really, really well at Nice. But
Talbot, I have a wife that's basically obsessed with your YouTube videos, and she was watching one in the living room earlier. He deleted 2 previous videos. What's going on?
3.
3.
What are you doing, Talbot?
Yeah. I'm the one that edited them. I thought they were great videos. I texted him. I went there and I shot him, and then I asked him, and he's like, "Man, I just not feeling posting them." And I'm like, "Homeboy, why? Like, dude, these are great videos. Like, your fans would love them." And he's like, "Dude, I'm
Bro.
just so tired of like talking. Like, just do. Like, just quit talking like what you're gonna be and who you can be." And he's like, people are just. I'm tired of talking. Like, I just need to show. And so
And Talbot's
he
like,
said
but
he didn't want to
bro,
post it.
I've got to eat.
I gotta. Hey, hold on here. I gotta make a paycheck. No, Lionel will take care of me. There's some great videos. Maybe I should ask him if we can like.
Maybe
list
Pro
them
Tri News can
unlisted.
post them,
Yeah,
or maybe Pro Tri News
exactly.
can post them. We'll pay him for it. Tell him we'll pay him for it.
They're great videos. It was like his response to Nice and all that, and he's like, "Who am I injured for 6 months can comment about Nice?" I was like, well,
Fair play, bro.
Who the hell are we? We're just podcast bros sitting here
He-
talking
he
every
texted-
single week.
He's Lionel.
yeah,
I mean, nothing should surprise us. God bless him.
Is he going to race this
Yeah.
year, Talbot, or is he done for the year?
he just posted a video on YouTube. We launched it yesterday, and he's doing some workouts and stuff. And he thought about doing Arizona and Cozumel, and then he's like, I'm just gonna pick it up at Indian Wells and be all in for next year's Ironman distance. And then also in that video, him and Aaron announced that they were having a second child. So
Oh,
hats
hey.
off to them.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
You know what I say about the baby number 2?
what?
4 times the work.
Exactly.
My God.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We are almost at the tipping point or the end of the season. We hope you're enjoying the show thus far. Thanks for hanging on, and we'll see you in the next one.
it's great for the sport.